Welcome to Naked Real Estate, the barrier-free experience. My name is John Su. Today we have a mortgage broker, Kaleem Khan from Dominion Lending Braco. We're going to discuss today's topic is it's not all about credit. And really, one thing I realize is a common misconception is just because you have good credit, it doesn't mean you can buy anything. So, Kaleem, can you tell us more about that common misconception?
Absolutely. Now, when it comes to getting any sort of lending or any sort of mortgage, there's many different elements that are looked at. Credit is definitely one of them, but it's not everything that is looked at. Now, as an example, if somebody was to start their credit and they've had their credit card for the first time for the first 6 months, they've been making their payments, their score will be quite high. Now, when we talk about credit score, it goes anywhere from 400 to 900. So good or decent credit is anywhere from 620 to 680 is considered decent. Anything below 620, well, it's questionable. Anything over 680 is considered really, really good.
So are you saying somebody with a short credit history will have a high credit score?
Absolutely, because they made their payments. There's nothing else to go by. So when any creditor, what they do is they report to the credit bureau how effectively you use your credit. Now, a good credit score again might be around 800 for somebody that's had a credit card for the first time for the first 6 months.
Could they get a mortgage with a 6-month credit history?
See, that is very, very difficult. Now that will fall back into, well, what do they have as a fallback? Fallback could be, well, if they have a ton of money in savings, for example, or a higher down payment than 5%, we could try and get around that. So
what are the chances of that, though? 50-50? Long shot in the dark?
See, we don't like to do percentages, but yeah, absolutely. The chances are quite low for that. But I mean, realistically, there's things that we can work around it. Well, how can we work around it? We can add a cosigner if possible. But regardless of that, credit, like I'm saying, is not necessarily the only thing. Like, credit score is not the only thing. At the same time, if you've a good credit history would be, let's just say, at least 24 to 36 months of good payment history. What that means is, well, I haven't missed any payments, and nor was I late for any payments. Because sometimes we misconstrue it as late and missed payments as, well, they're totally different. I didn't miss a payment, I was just late. The way the credit bureau or the way creditors report that is that whether you're late or whether you missed it, either or, it's bad on your credit bureau.
Yeah, that's kind of like, I didn't have an affair, but I did make out with a girl. Making out with a girl and having an affair is just as bad.
Yeah, absolutely, and That's absolutely fantastic. But one of the things we have to also realize that, if let's just say it's not necessarily a creditor and you get your cell phone bill because you were down in the States or in Vegas, like some of my friends, and they come back and they've got this bill on their cell phone and it's quite large and they understand why. So what they do is they decide not to pay it. Never do that.
Yeah.
That's one thing as well. Like, if you may have an immaculate credit, meaning for the past 10, 15, 20 years, what have you, you've never missed a payment. But now you've got a blemish on your credit bureau because you're in an argument with one of the creditors.
Yeah, collectors.
And that can go into collection. That could definitely affect your. You know what? I always say, pay it off. Argue about it after, because you don't want any blemishes on the credit bureau. Because when it comes to the time when you're to buy a home or anything else for that matter.
So say if it's like $700 bill is it just as simple as, okay, I'll pay it off and get rid of it, or is it already done bad damage where it really screws you over?
Well, once it goes to, here's the thing, nothing goes in your credit bureau or in collections right away. It doesn't. There's always an effort made, and there's requirements for that before that can actually go into that. So a cell phone company will call you multiple times. Have a nice chat with them. It's.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Most of the time, it's been years, and they just owed it from like 5-10 years ago. Is it as simple as, I pay it off and then I get rid of it, or not that simple?
If it's
now I can buy a house.
A rule of thumb, the day of the last inquiry or last time
they kind of filed against your credit.
File against it. It takes after 6 years it gets expunged. Expunged just means it goes away off your credit, and then that does heal or fix the credit score. But if it's like 2-3 years old and it's still there, yeah, it's not always as easy as just calling a collection company and paying it off, because they may not exist. I would always go back to the person that would have had that collection with. It could be Shaw Cable, for example. It could be Rogers. It could be Bell. So any of the other people like that. I mean, just talk to them first, then try to figure out if you can go back to the collection agency.
Okay, so say for example, I want to buy a house.
Yeah.
My job's excellent. Got a good down payment, say 10%.
Perfect.
The only problem is I have a $700 Rogers bill that I didn't want to pay 3 years ago. will that stop the mortgage, or if I can pay off that bill, I can get the mortgage?
It's all dependent on how the rest of the credit is used. So to a short, quick answer, yes. If you pay it off, you should be able to get a mortgage.
Should be okay then.
Should be okay.
Okay, so you're not totally screwed.
No. So, but I mean, be careful with anything in that case that does come along. I always say one of the things that everybody should do is, review your credit at least once a year. Go on Equifax.ca if you're on, if you're in Western Canada, go on TransUnion site, which is Eastern Canada. Go either or. Check your score. Do it at least once a year because sometimes errors do happen. They can be reversed. They can be fixed.
Credit checks like the physical. Nobody likes to do it, and everybody forgets about doing it, right?
Absolutely, but they're very important for your longevity, right? Like
so they say.
Yeah, so they say.
Okay, awesome. Thanks, Kaleem.